1997, October 1st, the end day. Savage war engulfs the world, and civilization is destroyed. An evolution had taken place. The Earth's axis shifted, and all creatures became mutated. Life would never be the same. Those surviving vowed not to repeat their mistakes of the past and erected a great tower in the sky. To oppress evil forever. Welcome to Let's Play Crystalis. Let's get started right away. "100 years have passed. Most of the Earth has become dominated by mutated creatures. People worked together to rebuild their villages and their lives, but they still lived in fear. As they feared the rebirth of evil, they remembered the construction of the tower and of its consequences once activation had begun. Once evil emerged, would they still stand a chance? There was still one hope. And let's go ahead and input our name. Now, I'm sorry for the very, very short intro, but you don't have a lot of time until it loops back into the opening cutscene, so we had to jump right in, but that's okay. And we are called jrpg. Let's get started. And we emerge from this computer-controlled chamber in the middle of a cave. There might be a little bit of a Jesus metaphor going on here, but we'll get into that a little bit more later. Before I head outside, I just want to talk about a couple of things. I am playing this on an emulator, and the first thing you'll probably notice is our little heads-up display on the bottom there containing our life, force, we don't know what that means yet, our level, etc., has a few flashing pixels above it. And that's just going to be something we're going to have to deal with. This game, even if you're not playing on emulator, had a lot of weird visual artifacting going on, but it's going to be just fine. I promise you won't notice it after just a minute. Now, you can see how I can move here. We can move in 8 directions, which is pretty exciting and pretty cool. The controls are pretty tight. And this is an action RPG, and it's just fantastic, by SNK. And that's pretty much all I want to say right at the beginning, so let's go outside. And we're going to scare the living daylights out of this poor guy. Hey, there's a guy coming out of the cave. And he takes off running. One of my favorite things about this game is the soundtrack. I think it's just wonderful. The composer's name is Yoko Osaka, and I really love her work that she did for this game, but I haven't really heard of any of the other games she's done. The only ones that kind of ring a bell for me are a couple of Fatal Fury games, but either way, it's fantastic, and you'll hear in a minute. A lot of it is very akin to Ninja Gaiden to me, but since we've just arrived in town, why don't we talk to everyone? Oh, it's you. I'm sorry I ran from you when we first met. Zebu says he's having a hard time with the windmill guard. He is always sleeping. That's interesting. Did you visit the Elder's house yet? No, I have not. I will get right on that, though. Just a few shops here, but we're flat broke, so we don't need to do anything with that yet. If you go to the west, you will find Zebu in a cave. Okay, well, that's good to know. This is the village of Leaf. There are great dangers outside of town. Please be careful. I am the village elder. You awoke from inside the cave, didn't you? We were told you would arrive. You are our last hope to defeat evil. Receive this sword to protect you on your quest. This and others like it will guide you. And now we have a sword, which is awesome. And we do a very Zelda-like holding things up above our head when we get new stuff. It's awesome. There's an old windmill to the north, but I've never seen it working. So we know that Zebu has problems with that windmill guard. The windmill's to the north, but Zebu is to the west, and we'll probably want to visit him. But for right now, why don't we go ahead and equip our sword? And so we have this short attack, but we can also charge to release a projectile attack. And I want to say right off the bat, if you're feeling like this reminds you a bit of Secret of Mana, it should. They're both action RPGs, but I actually think this game is quite superior to Secret of Mana for lots of reasons. And I'm not going to go too in-depth into that. I will just say that I really like the combat system in this game. It's fun, it feels fluid and responsive. And I feel like Secret of Mana really lacks that. But that's going to be all I'm going to say about that, because I want to stick to talking about the game we're actually playing. You have finally awoken. This money is from the wise man Zebu. It's yours. And we get $100. And I do love that the currency in this game is denoted by a literal dollar sign, so I get to just call them dollars, which I'm gonna do. So let's head to the armor shop and see what we can buy. There's a tanned hide for exactly $100 and a carapace shield for $80. I think we're just gonna go ahead and buy the tanned hide right off the bat. If I can figure out what the buttons do. There we go. And we'll go ahead and put it on, and let's check out our stats then. Now our defense is 03-01, and our attack is 02. Our life is 48 of 48, and our level is 1. Basically, the stat system in this is not particularly complex. Shouldn't be too hard to understand. But basically all of those things will go up when we level up. And for now, we're broke again, so why don't we head outside of town and maybe go talk to Zebu. And this is what I'm talking about. The overworld music, I mean, I guess this counts as the overworld. They're, like, you're constantly in the overworld in action RPGs, but the point is that the music just rocks. It's real upbeat and feels very Ninja Gaiden to me. And when we kill enemies, we will gain XP and a little bit of money. Those little slimes give us $1 and, like, 1 XP. As does most of the things out here. But we're gonna do a little bit of monster killing, because I do want to make a little bit of money to try to save up for that shield. But there is something else we're going to need to buy soon, which I will need money for as well. So we're just going to run around a little bit and kill stuff before we head all the way over to see Zebu. We don't need to go completely crazy with it right now. But we will probably have to run in a circle a little bit to grind up some money. And we would like to get to level 2 fairly soon. But why don't we talk to Zebu right now since it's right here? God, every song is just so good. Oh, this game is so much fun. I'm called Zebu. Jrpg, you are the one we have been waiting for. Try to make the windmill work. If you can do this, I will teach you some magic. Didn't mean to swing my sword at him, but he's gonna be okay. So we will get to learn our first spell if we can make the windmill operate. And how the monsters work is actually sort of similar to Ninja Gaiden as well, where, like, if I were to walk a little ways left and then walk right again, oftentimes they will respawn right where they were. You have to get a little bit of a ways away from them. But the way that enemies respawn in this game is something that you can kind of abuse to grind levels. There are a couple of areas I'm thinking of in particular where it is really, really advantageous. But for now, we do still need to kill a few more monsters. But I just have to say, these 8-direction controls, where you can move on diagonals, it just feels so good. And really unlike most of the games at the time, right? You had a lot of platformers. The closest thing to this, I would say, would be something like Zelda. And even in that game, you can't move on diagonals. So it has this really fun quality, and this is one of the first action RPGs I can think of. I'm not sure if there were any before this, but I don't really feel like they had been done on this level. And, you know, you might be thinking, well, the hero doesn't even look cool. You're like kind of a purple blob with kind of a weird haircut. You have big bulbous feet. And all of that's true, but it really makes up for it, namely with the soundtrack. but also with just how much fun it is to play. Like, it really does feel like an action game, especially when we start getting into some more serious boss fights and things like that. That being said, this is not a particularly difficult game, but it does offer a decent bit of challenge if you're a little unprepared for what you're getting yourself into. But we're only 6 XP away from level 2, so let's make it happen. Come here, slime. And I know I said I didn't want to talk about it too much, but I can't help it. So how the charge system works is you have to stop briefly. You fire, you stop, and then you can move again just fine. So the trade-off is you trade a little bit of mobility for a few moments, and then you get a projectile. The way that works in Zelda is that you only get a projectile when you're at full life. In this game, you have it all the time. The main criticism I have of Secret of Mana as compared to this game is that in Secret of Mana, when you charge your sort of level up moves with your weapons, your movement is permanently crippled. And our level just went up, which is just fantastic. And now I'm not sure, I think I might need 50 bucks. So why don't we just go ahead and get that before we head back in. And I hate that system in Secret of Mana. I hate having my movement crippled, and combined with bad hit detection, you end up just not really using your charge moves, whereas in this game, the charge moves are super fun to use. You use them all the time. That charge up sound, you should probably get used to because you're going to be hearing it a lot. All right, we got $54. I think we have enough. So let's head back to town really quick. Now, I know that the wind here is always cold, but we're used to it. I know that there are a couple of people I still need to talk to. So we know that the guard is sleeping. If you ever need to wake anyone up, use the Alarm Flute. It never fails. That is the person I wanted to talk to. And please be careful, our destiny is in your hands. Now, armed with that knowledge, we know that the guard at the windmill is always sleeping, and we can use the Alarm Flute that they sell here to wake him up. Yep, we did need exactly 50 bucks, and we've got it. And now that we have our crazy, piercingly loud flute, we can probably go deal with this situation. Now, the windmill is going to be way up north. And as Zebu told us, if we get the windmill working again, we can learn some new magic. And you'll notice now that I've leveled up, I can one-hit kill some things that I couldn't before. Which is handy indeed. And this is sort of the tutorial dungeon. It's very, very short. There are only 2 pathways. And here is the sleeping gentleman. So let's get out our Alarm Flute. And go ahead and use it. And he goes, "Oh, what was that? Don't do that again." "It's you. Please don't tell Zebu. Take this to start the windmill. Zebu says a strange ball is hidden in these caves. He says it can break rock walls." So now we've got our windmill key. And we can head over this way to the windmill. And in here, we can use our windmill key. And the windmill begins to work. Let's check it out. And somehow the windmill working controls the cave door over there. I guess I don't know why you would need someone to, like, man a windmill and keep it working. All he's got to do is put the key in there, and there it goes. But nevertheless, I love sleep as much as the next person, so I can understand why he's sleeping on the job. If he gets paid to do that, why wouldn't you, you know? And Zebu says, "You have done well. I will now teach you the magic of refresh." And I don't know how he says that to us. I guess it's telepathically. But anyway, let's equip Refresh. And what Refresh will do is heal us whenever we take damage, consuming some MP, which is in the bottom right. We've only got 34 right now, but it is a very, very useful spell. We will basically be using this spell for the entire game. Now we gotta watch out for these slime guys in here. The enemies currently don't present much of a challenge, but that's gonna change fairly soon. Oh, one thing I guess I forgot to mention is you can swing your sword really fast by mashing the button, so you can kind of just run through guys like this. Which is, yep, it's a little bit dangerous like that. You kind of want to watch your step, because if they get off track of straight in front of you, they will definitely hit you. But frankly, I really like that it's there. Like, you can really mash this quickly. It's great. And it's just another way to go about combat if you get a little tired of doing the charge moves. But this game, these dungeons are going to get lots more complex pretty quickly. They really expect you to remember where you've been and what you're doing. And now we heard that the strange ball in this cave can break rock walls, and that right there is one of them. But we've got to find that ball first. I gotta watch my step around these guys a little bit. Let's try this way first. Big rock golem. He takes a lot of hits. And we acquire some warp boots. What those will do is teleport us back to town. Cool, we're already level 3. Now, this is not a prime grinding location, but I feel like this is a reasonable time to kind of show you what I mean. So we could do something like this. Oh my god. I'm screwing it up, but I think you can see what I mean. If you find some fairly high XP value enemies near a door like that, you can infinitely respawn them and quickly kill them to level up really fast. But since we took a few hits, we can try out Refresh. And that healed us right up. Didn't even cost that much MP. I do remember, yep. There's a golem here, and you can see a little technique I did there where if you stand just a bit off of straight in front of enemies like that... Oh god, I gotta run from these guys, they're the worst. Medical herb is nice to have. Yep, oh my god. Fortunately, they don't do much damage, but they're very hard to stop because they're fast and they kind of vibrate around in place. So I just run away from them. And that's what we were looking for. That's our Ball of Wind. Let's go ahead and equip it. And that's going to allow us to charge to level 2, shoot an even bigger and more powerful projectile. But the most important part... Oh god, run. The most important part is that I will now be able to break things like this. And I get an antidote for my trouble. We won't need that, but it may come up, so it's nice to have without having to buy it. Ooh, that was close. Alright, let's get out of here. I'm not messing with those flying guys. Alright, and now we want to kind of head back to a little bit earlier in the dungeon where we saw the other rock door. What do I have, $106? I could run back to town and get a shield, but I kind of don't want to. I think we're just gonna head forward and not worry about the shield for right now. We have a little bit more treasure hunting to do before we continue through the rest of the dungeon. One more medical herb, that couldn't hurt. Yep, I'm just gonna kill as many enemies as I can. No reason not to. Okay, I'm gonna have to concentrate for this, so let's go. Now we meet the vampire. This is our first boss fight, and now the tough thing about this is you have these bats constantly rotating around you, so it makes it hard to charge. But also, he can teleport right on top of you, and that will cause a hit, and usually bounce you right into the bats. Oh, and once you get off, it's really hard to get them back into kind of a favorable pattern. We gotta heal up. Oh no. He almost did it to me there. Alright, come on. We can do this. I was hoping I would hit both the bats there, but it was not meant to be. I feel like I'm getting pretty lucky with his teleports. Alright, that's all my magic. Oh, there it is. And now we get the rabbit boots, and these are pretty cool. Let's try them on. We can jump now. And it even makes a sweet noise. Unfortunately, you can't jump attack or anything, but we will end up using this ability. But let's keep going. Yeah, once again, those boss fights, they're not, like, crazy difficult, but they do require you to kind of be on your toes. They're by no means insanely easy. Alright, now I do want to just head straight south, right over here. And this is Akahana. I used to have an unusual statue, but I dropped it near the river. It was a great find and will be difficult to replace. Have you seen it? I haven't yet, but you know what? I actually know right where it is. This town is mostly for travelers. Pretty noisy, isn't it? It does have actually quite a few people in it. I've heard that there's a village where only women live. I wonder. That sounds maybe more appealing to her than she's willing to admit. If you go east, you will find the forest. It's a grand maze where plants will shoot poison. Sounds like a horrible place, man. The village of Oak lies deep in the forest. The people there don't understand our language. That's interesting, for sure. And there are 2 routes to Mount Saber, one west and one north. Both roads are very dangerous. She's not kidding about that. But let's check out the bar. I told him that I made a lot of money from stones I found in Mount Saber. After that, he got excited. I just found out how to get rich quick. Later. He's going straight to Mount Saber to get rich. The wise man Tornell lives with his pupils in the north. And welcome, please have some refreshments. So we just learned a whole bunch of new things. We have a whole bunch of places we could go, but I think the first thing we want to do is go find that statue. But for right now, I have $134. So I could actually buy some leather armor, but I think I just want to get my hands on a shield right away. There's also the bronze shield, but that costs $220, which is quite a bit, but we will have more money for that a little bit later. For now, let's just get our first shield. Go ahead and put that on. And that's going to give us a cool new little shield model. It's just a purple circle, but I like it. And I think I'm going to hit the inn. Recover all my MP. all my life and be ready to hit the road. And we're gonna go look for that statue. But that's gonna have to wait until next time because I'm all out of time for today. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.